Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography, where we like to squeeze it in here. We're talking Aerosmith. This is my pick. Toys in the Attic, 1975. I'm Jason. With me is Bill,
I'm still here.
Tim,
Howdy.
and Brian.
Hello.
And Pumpkin. If you missed the previous videos, check the playlist link down below. And hopefully you'll like and subscribe and stick around because we have a lot more Aerosmith to get through. So we're talking Toys in the Attic. Who hasn't... Bill, you haven't started us off yet.
No, I haven't.
Start us off with Toys in the Attic.
Well, Toys in the Attic starts with Toys in the Attic. Oh, alright. Starting with their title track as your opener. Which, you know what? It's okay. I thought Toys in the Attic maybe was their best opener to date at this point. Followed by Uncle Salty. I actually like the guitar changes. So I liked a lot that was going on with that song. Not top song contender, but eligible for honorable mention potentially.
Okay.
Adam's Apple, I felt that one helped show a lot of growth as a band. Sounds similar, but cleaner than the last couple albums, where it's still the same sounds, but it's just been cleaned up a little bit, production-wise. Walk This Way, for me, that's one of my favorite singles by them. It's actually one of the first songs. When someone says, hey, name an Aerosmith song, my first one I go with is usually Walk This Way. That's the one that comes to mind first. It was...
Ooh, top song's going to get spicy.
I probably heard Walk This Way before I heard Dream On, which is why, obviously, the younger you hear something, the more readily you're going to say that as the first instance of a song or any item when mentioned. And then we got to Big 10-inch Record. And we're back to boogieing. And that old funk. And, Sweet Emotion came next. And, Sweet Emotion, honestly, is another good single for me. It's a good, solid song. I find it odd, like, a lot of these, singles, this one and Dream On, like, for me, they didn't 100% fit with what else is going on in their respective albums, like sound-wise. Which I know that does happen with singles once in a while, but just seems, like, okay, we're, 3 albums in? It's already happened twice with 2 of the bigger singles that have come out of these albums. I just thought that was kind of noteworthy. No More, No More. It's okay, it's okay. It's not great, but I love the guitar solo. Round and Round. It really wasn't what I wanted to listen to. For me, the vocals and bass just didn't fit with it, and I just really wasn't a super big fan. And then you get You See Me Crying. Considering it's more of the ballad type sound, it's not a bad ending. I can appreciate it, but it's not how I wanted a closer to be on an album.
What do you want from a closer then, Bill? You're so demanding.
Not a goddamn ballad, alright? You know what? If this one had actually ended with, like, Sweet Emotion, even though it was a single, I think Sweet Emotion would have actually been a damn good ending to this album.
Okay.
You got the flow, you got a beat, it kind of tails in, tails off. Like, it would have been a nice bookend with Toys in the Attic, I think.
I mean, I can see that.
All right.
Why, what'd you think, Jason?
You want me to go next? All right. Best opening track so far. I'll agree with you. Top song contender. I love it. It's very much inspired by Tiny Bradshaw. I love how Tyler just comes in mid-line. The vocal melody and guitar matching in sections. The backing vocals. Uncle Salty, another top song contender. Lyrical content is stepping it up for the first time. Musically, it's haunting. yet has this like swingy, catchy melody. I love it. Adam's Apple, being what it's about, it's at least clever. It's got biblical metaphors, and it's a little bit more tasteful than like a something in your mouth. Walk This Way, classic. Yes, the Run DMC collab is better, but it's still great here. They got the title from Gene Wilder and Young Frankenstein, which I thought was pretty cool. Big 10-inch record. I love fun, dumb, goofy songs, and you can tell they had fun with this cover. Love the harmonica. Sweet Emotion, another top song contender. I like the long intro that on this version that's cut from a lot of the other versions, like the greatest hits. And I don't think Tyler's vocal performance on the studio version is as good as live versions, where he puts more into it, but it's still pretty good. No More, piano driven. I love the Baby I'm a Dreamer, Found My Horse and Carriage vocal delivery. My only complaint is it goes on a little too long and it gets a little repetitive, which is going to make me contradict myself with Round and Round, because I like the repeating lyrics in that. I think it fits the song better. It's heavy for Aerosmith, but it works. Top song contender. You See Me Crying, super dynamic. Sounds like nothing they've done up to this point. Best closer so far. I love Toys in the Attic.
I couldn't tell.
I didn't. This was one that I picked
I'm
up
glad
on.
I don't have to guess this one.
I picked
Oh,
up on
God,
eBay.
yeah.
Like, this was my copy. This isn't my dad's. Like, I had to pick this one up on eBay.
I'll hop in there. I think Toys in the Attic has been a fantastic album for me. It's always been there. It's been one of my go-to a top couple of Aerosmith albums. Toys in the Attic as an opener, great opening song for an album. Sounds like they're having fun. I really enjoyed the chorus on it. Always have. I'm not sure if there's some hidden innuendo there, but it sounds like it's just talking about having crazy thoughts like toys in the attic. I just really enjoyed that. Uncle Salty, I felt like the lyrics were really above and beyond compared to their first couple albums. Good story driven stuff, even though it's got still kind of that down and dirty stuff to it. Adam's Apple, um, great song lyrically. I feel like they started kind of experimenting with that blue sound, with the way they did the verses with the palm muting and the vamping of the guitar while Steven Tyler was delivering the verses. I really enjoyed the entendres there. I thought that, like you said, the biblical reference of it kind of really made that entendre worthwhile, where sometimes Aerosmith and other bands entendres to me are a little shallow and unneeded, but here it kind of makes it make sense. Walk This Way, probably in my opinion, one of, if not the best guitar riff in any 70s or 80s guitar rock. Sweet, big 10-inch record. Being a cover, it also sounds like this recording here, like it didn't sound like the same production as the rest of the album, like it was recorded somewhere else some other time. Like it just sounded a little different. I felt like it was kind of fitting in with their entendre style of writing. The sex driven, still a holdover from the Led Zeppelin emulation in my opinion. Sweet Emotion really shows, okay, Aerosmith can do the rock ballad and still be a hard rock song. Great riffs, great lyrics. Love the vocal delivery, the kind of talky singing that he did in the verses, juxtaposed with the harmonizing that I'm hearing in the chorus and the bridge. Thought it was really well done. I still couldn't tell if it was some of the other band members doing the harmonizing vocal parts, if it was just extra tracks by Steven Tyler. Either way, came out really, really good. It's one of those songs that I think they really, really went above and beyond, hit the mark. Um, no More, No More, and Round, they were still kind of meh for me. You See Me Crying, that's where I see the birth of what becomes modern Aerosmith, or 90s, 2000s Aerosmith. I feel like that's one of the only rock ballads that I've heard from the 70s that just hits me. I feel like it's great vocal delivery, great lyrics, great songwriting, very well done in my opinion. overall, Toys in the Attic would definitely be a contender for one of my favorite Aerosmith albums, but it's unfair to say because they have so many great albums. Overall, I'd say it's a great album, and I feel like they're really starting to come into their own on this release.
Yeah, I'll agree with that last statement. They're definitely starting to come into their own here. It's starting to feel like a little bit more than just blues songs. Um, so the opener, "Toys in the Attic," great opener, great song. That's a jam. Uncle Salty, it's okay. It's kind of I thought it was a little dumb though. Not my favorite. Adam's Apple. I mean, I've never heard Chuck Berry before, so I don't know if that's a rock and roll song or not. But it's a rock and roll song. Um, Another one I've never heard before. This song called "Walk This Way." Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think I missed that one.
I don't know if that's how that's pronounced. I mean, that's just how I've been pronouncing it.
Okay, yeah. There's nothing really memorable about it. Although, if we're gonna actually throw that riff out as one of the best riffs of the '70s and '80s, I'm just gonna say Iron Man and Smoke on the Water. But and then I'm also
Same conversation. It's the same conversation.
yeah. Um, Big 10-inch record. My notes say, "I get it." Ha ha. Another blues song. It's fun, but there's nothing new there. Um, Sweet Emotion. I mean, that's a good start to a B side for sure. That's a good start to a B side. Um, Going back to my personal relationship with Aerosmith when I first started playing drums was around the time the Pandora's Box was released, and this was the single promoting that. Like they re-released this as a single, and so it was one of the first times I learned how to open the hi-hat on the four. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it's a great song. It's a classic. Yeah, I don't get tired of it. No More, No More. Pretty good. I'm gonna have to listen to it a couple more times because there's something about it that's like holding it back from being great, and I'm not sure what it is yet. But it's like right there on the border. And then Round and Round is gonna be top song contender. It's gonna be my favorite song on this album. It's gonna be what I was looking for going into these early '70s Aerosmith albums. I've heard a couple of them going into this before, but I'd never really studied them. But what I wanted is Round and Round. That song's awesome. They should do more like that. And then we get to You See Me Crying, which didn't really do anything for me. It felt like, I mean, what was this, 74, 75?
75, yeah.
75, yeah. It feels like pop radio for 75. It feels like they're trying to do like an Elton John song or I don't know, Carly Simon or something. Like, it just feels like very 70s AM gold to me. So, like, it's not a bad song. It just didn't do it for me. So, yeah, like, it's a pretty good album. I can see why people like it a lot. I can see why, obviously, it's got two of their biggest songs, not only of their career, but of the 70s and of rock and roll on there. So it makes sense. But I thought this album was a little uneven, honestly. It's like they're about to break out and like find their own voice, but there's still just too many but we got to do this blues song. Which they do it well. They put energy into all of it, honestly. Especially like we're 3 albums in now, and Like we're still just very much a a British invasion blues band, but they're doing it well, and this was an enjoyable album. Like I'm not knocking it, but I guess my expectations going into it were higher from decades of hearing how awesome this album was, and yeah, there's a few songs on here that are absolutely top of the heap, but there's a couple here too that I could skip.
I disagree. I disagree, Tim. I love every fucking song on this album. There's something about Toys. I don't know. It's very dynamic compared to the first two records. It can go from the heavy fucking shit to like You See Me Crying. I don't know. I got a soft spot for Toys in the Attic. So.
Okay. No, and you're not wrong. Like especially compared to the first two.
And it's their first good album cover.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's their worst logo.
Worst logo, sure, and they did it a few more times, but
best
pretty
album
cool
cover.
Album cover.
Yeah, so far, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's Big Al from like the Alabama football or sports that's on the cover. Which, being from Alabama, that's kind of cool that a band from Boston would have the Big Al from Alabama sports on there.
The Big Al. Oh shit, you're right.
Is that Big Al? My father-in-law told me that it was Big Al because Alabama sports was like big in the 70s, late 70s, Paul Bear Bryant and stuff, and that was kind of like a cultural thing because there's so many things on the album cover. I always thought that was kind of cool.
I've never fucking noticed that. That is the Roll Tide elephant.
I mean, I never really have been 100% sure if it was or not, as I spent
it
a
looks
lot
like
of time kind of speculating, but it looks like it.
Well, and when did that Steely Dan song come out?
Which one?
71?
Deacon Blues. That's the one it's called, right?
Oh.
They call Alabama the Crimson Tide. Call me Deacon Blues.
Well, you just picked the closing song for this video.
And, I tend to.
All right, Bill, it's your turn to guess.
Well, let's go with the safe and what I think the easy one is first. Jason's going to have it at number 1.
Goddamn right.
I think Brian's also going to have it at number 1.
Correct.
That's me. That's still me. That's
the two Aerosmith fans. We know what's up.
We'll get back to me, Tim. So Jason, I think Brian has it at number 1.
Oh shit. I forgot there's fucking 4 of us now. Not that I don't do that when there's only 3 of us. But...
yeah.
See, we got Tim. I think Tim liked it more than the debut album. But I don't think he liked it more than Wings.
That's what I would guess.
Well, and I would say that you're correct. I probably like Wings more, but I do think this is the better album.
Musically? Okay. So then, yeah, it'd be number 1 then.
Yeah.
Okay. And that makes sense. Tim, that's why you're hard to guess. You don't go with emotion, damn it.
That's right, because I have no motion. I'm a soulless blob.
Man, you gotta get yourself some of that sweet emotion, baby.
Yeah.
Well,
You gotta walk this way, motherfucker.
Once I get my wings.
So, and honestly, I mean, especially considering Jason completely just undid it, I'm also gonna have it at number 1. Yeah, definitely. I felt like their best, their cleanest album to date. Definitely can hear them maturing musically in this album. They came a lot further.
It also has more personality. It's more of an original style and sound. Like instead of just the first two albums, there's just so
It was
much
generic.
basic.
Yeah.
They're trying new things here. Like they're branching out a little bit.
Which I mean,
Identity.
ideally, an artist does within the first 3 albums, which they've done that now. So that's good. They've done it, and I feel like Aerosmith, they definitely could do a little bit more experimentation, which they do get to a little bit more here in the next couple albums, and then later on.
So we are currently, this is like a first. We have a 4-way lineup with a band that's like trajectorily getting better and better as they go. Will that
I think
continue?
we're going to change on this album.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know. Stick around and find out, you guys, because I know you're just as curious as we are. Because we don't know each other's picks. It's all a surprise here at ODD. We are unscripted. We say fuck a lot, so share us with your friends. And what else? Anything else we got to add here? Our Patreon link down below. Shout out to Conrad. He's the man. And our old Patreon members who've been there since the beginning. Big Sam, why aren't you a Patreon member yet? Shame on you. Yeah, stick around for rocks. Be safe and make good decisions.
Rocks.
Rock.
Get your rocks off. Rock till you bop.